willing to fail is in itself a brave thing, because nobody really knows if anything is going to work out.
Yeah.
But you do know that it definitely won't work out if you never try.
Mm. Yeah.
And once like I got that little thing in my head, I'm like, you know what? I might embarrass myself. It's like, but
Yeah.
I might not. It is a mental shift. Pretty much any brave thing, in my opinion, it starts in the mind, it starts in
Yeah.
the heart.
Yeah.
And in order to get there, like I was saying before, start small.
I'm Tiffany Gilliland, your host of the Business Bravery podcast. I'm an Australian business and mindset coach and marketing service provider with 13 years of experience in online marketing. I help coaches sign clients and grow their business with more confidence and less stress using my Business Bravery framework. It's all about simple steps that actually work so you can build a profitable business that lights you up and feels sustainable. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to join me for Brave Coffee Connections, my free monthly Zoom gathering for coaches and service-based business owners. It's not another networking pitch fest. Instead, you'll connect through powerful questions, small group conversations, and a short visualization to set you up for the month ahead. These deeper connections often lead to collaborations, referrals, and even new clients. Find out more about this free monthly Zoom gathering at tiffanygstudios.com/connections. That's tiffanygstudios.com/connections. I'd love to see you there. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome back Latoya Clark, CEO and founder of Butterfly Chats Media. You might remember her from episode 41, where she shared her journey from chronic pain to entrepreneurship. This time, we talk about the brave steps she's taken since then, from moving out on her own to planning her first long-distance trip, and how she's built confidence and purpose while managing chronic illness. Latoya shares how she helps women build sustainable businesses through her She Rises Incubator and Spark framework, combining self-care and strategy. We also explore her partnership with Pureway and how she's creating impact through health advocacy. This conversation is such a beautiful reminder that bravery in business isn't about big leaps, it's about small, intentional steps that help us rise again and again. With that said, this is an amazing episode and I can't wait to share with you Latoya's stories of business bravery, past, present, and future. Now, who's ready for some business bravery inspiration? Let's dive in. Oh, hello, everybody. I am super excited to be here with one of my favorite humans, and that is Latoya Clark, who is just an amazing leader in the industry of chronic health and also business and coaching. And Latoya, I'm not doing it justice. You jump in, you tell us a bit more about yourself, and then we'll get into what brave things you've been doing since we last recorded together.
Awesome. Well, thank you for bringing me back on. I love it here. I find myself doing some of the bravest things when I realize I'm coming in to talk to you. So, yeah, I'm Latoya. I'm social wellness creator, and I work with women who have chronic illnesses, and I help them either come to acceptance with their chronic illness and also learn how to weave their diagnoses into their lives. Once we do that, then we start the dreaming process. And I help them find profit, find purpose, and hopefully joy again.
Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. Profit, purpose, and joy. And even as you say that, I feel like even in my life, because some of the people listening will know that I also deal with chronic illness. And yeah, like I've been coming back from taking a break to manage my health. And yeah, I've been going through that similar journey.
Mhm.
Profit, forget the middle one, and joy.
Yeah, yeah, purpose, purpose. Yeah.
I have one, I promise.
Yes, you do. Yeah,
Yes.
you're doing an amazing thing. Like, I mean, just like with even like with your coffee chat last week, it's like it gives us a safe place to do the brave things, and to know we're not by ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you. And thank you so much. The feedback for the first round of Brave Coffee Chats or Brave Coffee Connections has been amazing. And I was dreaming about that for so long. And it's glad, like when you dream it and then you just like, but other people might not think of it the same way. And like
Hmm.
this is like my fifth time lucky getting something out into the world like this, and the other ones have fallen flat, but this one seems to like people have clicked. So yeah.
Yeah, it happens. That's part of the process, but As long
Yeah.
as you keep going, that's
Yeah.
half the battle right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the last time we recorded all of your bravery stuff was in early 2024, I think. Like, I looked,
Mhm.
the episode came out in April 2024. So, yeah, tell us a bit more. I don't know. Do you want to start the brave stuff you've been doing, or do you want to dive into the brave stuff you're doing now? Where do you
Well,
want to go?
we can do a little timeline, kind of like, where I was then and where I am now, because I'm just realizing where I am now.
Yeah.
Before I was I was still envisioning what I'm doing now, which is, working directly with, women with chronic illnesses, and for me to have an actual understanding of what it is I want to do. Before, I really was working through my own insecurities, my own, preconceived notions of what I was able to do. And I was working through a lot of my own just kind of looking for validation from people who will never get it. Now, I don't care about the validation. It's always nice if you get it,
Yeah.
but now I am living and walking in an answered prayer. I'm walking in this weird kind of boldness. It's just, like, I mean, I'm doing a whole bunch of things. I mean, like currently, like I just moved out on my own. I have chronic illnesses, multiple. One of my symptoms is I faint. I fall a lot. And so yeah, there is there's actual concern there and reason for safety measures. However, the one of the brave things I did is actually committing to it. Like, realizing, okay, this is what happens when this happens. And what am I going to do to either prevent it, or if it is inevitable that it's going to happen, how am I going to take care of it? And the thing is, one of the things I teach in my framework is that you got to take control of your own life. It may not be the life you wanted or dreamed of when you're in high school, but it's possible. So yeah, I'm moved out on my own. I'm, reaching out and making those connections to get in-home care. I'm building up my business. I've restructured it. And I'm even making a really big brave step. And I'm taking my first like long distance trip in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be flying to Maryland on my own. I'm like, what is happening? So, in a nutshell, that's what's happening.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I actually remember, months back or a year back even, we were in the CEO crowd and you were talking about dreaming about doing that longer trip and everything. So that's awesome to hear that that's coming about and all that kind of thing. What's like, what's the biggest shift that's happened that's like g made that go from something like maybe at one point you were like, oh, that's not for me, and but now it's like kind of like,
Mm.
oh yeah, I can do this. I mean, I know you're moving out on your own. Is that part of it, or yeah, how did
It
that
is
go?
part of it. It is part of it. But I think for me, the biggest shift was, even if there was a sliver of doubt as to whether I could do it or not, I had to believe on some level that it was possible. Like, that's first. you know. Now the how, that took some time, and I did it. I got here, and I made that shift by making little micro steps towards it. Things as simple as, like, okay, if I have to go to a doctor's appointment that's like out of town, like maybe 30 minutes away, do that. Go do that on your own. If you got to start, smaller, go to the grocery store by yourself. Although I hate going to the grocery store. It's like I do mostly deliveries, but sometimes when I'm trying to test myself, make those small trips. Go to a family member's house that's a little bit further away than you would normally do. Just make the little micro steps, and then those micro steps will give you the confidence to do one better, one better. And it grows to the point where You can move out on your own, even though you have health symptoms. You can, make this long trip. It's like you can do the things. And I have always been really bad, and sometimes I'm still bad about it, about not respecting the micro step. Because even in physical therapy, my therapist is like, "Can we start smaller? Like, can we just do 2 minutes?" And I'm like, "No, we got to do 20." They're like, "No, we're gonna do 2 minutes, and then we're gonna see if you don't die." you know, I've always been like, if it's not big, it's not purposeful, and I've learned that I was wrong.
Oh my God. I think that's one of my big lessons as well, with my with my health, with my business, with my whole personality, to be quite honest with you. It's just like I very much enjoy the big bold leaps and I'm doing the
Yeah,
brave thing and all of that. But yeah, sometimes for me, like the brave thing is just like, oh, okay, I can only do these stretches and in this way.
hmm
And it's like I can do 5 minutes of stretching, whereas I used to do 20 minutes or even 45 minutes at one point, of
right.
like actual like exercise or something like that. And it is those small things and celebrating them, I think, that just like helps us move forward and get the
Yes.
confidence to be like, okay, what's the next small step and see it grow and build. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I would definitely tag on it, but to the celebrating it, because that I am the worst at celebrating wins. I mean, because another friend of mine back when, okay, so when I first got the notification that I had the opportunity to get an apartment on my own, I was like, oh, yay, great. 'Cause I've been waiting a while for that. And I was happy about that, of course, obviously. But I got that news and then I immediately went, okay, what's the next step? And then the next step was, okay, come out and look at I was doing all the things. But my friend was like, wait, so what did you do to celebrate the fact that you got the call? I'm like, what do you mean? It's just a call.
Yeah.
She went, you've been waiting 6 years for this.
Mm,
I'm like, well, maybe, you know what? Maybe I should do a little jig. You are right. I've been waiting a very long time for this. So celebrating those small wins, I am still in practice in that. But,
yeah.
and honestly, when I did take that time, like I just stopped. I stopped looking for the next step. And I went and got me a went and got a cupcake, and just was like, hey, I did it, And when I did that, it
Yeah.
felt great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been missing this the whole time. So those small wins, like just do it. Like Nike. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't glaze over it and then because you actually missed, because even like when before we started
Yeah.
and you like reminded me where I was at the last interview, and I'm like, oh, that's like I don't even think I would recognize that Toya today.
Yeah. 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 Likewise. In fact, for me, I like the tiff from a couple of months ago was in a very different space to where I am now in terms of just confidence and building my business and yeah, and my health as well a little bit too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think being willing to fail is in itself a brave thing because nobody really knows if anything is going to work out.
Yeah.
But you do know that it definitely won't work out if you never try.
Mm, yeah.
And once like I got that little thing in my head, I'm like, you know what?
Mm,
I might embarrass myself. It's like, but
yeah.
I might not. Like,
Mm,
so
yeah.
it is a mental shift. Pretty much any brave thing, in my opinion,
Mm,
it starts in the mind, it starts in the
yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
And in order to get there, like I was saying before, start small.
Mm,
Do the little things and then celebrate the little things.
yeah. Oh my gosh, so true. And you mentioned to me before we started recording that you're kind of like that you have the She Rises Incubator, and
Mhm.
as part of that, you're like living the first step of everyone
Mhm.
you teach. Can you tell us a bit more about that and like what are the other steps and all of that goodness? I want to hear a bit.
Right. So
Yeah.
the She's Rising Incubator is like, the second generation of my original incubator. And so basically what it was, I niched down into who I really wanted to serve and what I wanted people to feel after. So I have the Spark framework, SPARK, and the first step is the Spark step. In anything that I do when it comes to, chronic health coaching, is we start with the health. We make sure that before we get into brand building, logo picking, all the other things that are inherently stressful and exhausting, I want to make sure that my client has a soft place to land, literally. So the first 4 weeks, because the Spark framework is a 6 month program. And so each step is 4 weeks. The first 4 weeks, we talk about your health, we talk about your health goals, we talk about the symptoms you have, what triggers them, all the things. And then we're gonna make a plan to when a flare inevitably happens, how are we going to work our way through it? So we work from, bedding, a room environment. It's like what they call it. It's like brain fog. Like the bed, like sleep hygiene is what it is. So, the lighting, the coloring, make sure you have the right kind of pillows and the supports. And people are like, well, why is that involved in brand building? Well, in traditional brand building, it probably isn't, because that's very bro coded, hustle culture, 25 interviews in a week, like all the things. We can't do that. Like we're not gonna do that. So like right now, like I am walking through the step of the Spark step. When I moved, the first thing that got set up and put together was the bedroom, was the lamps, was the lighting. Now the rest of the apartment, we're not gonna talk about that. Okay. The boxes in the closet, that's none of your business. Okay. I don't even have a couch right now. Don't you worry about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I got my blackout curtains, I got my little mood lighting, I got all that together because
Mm.
when those boxes break my back, I can come and lay down in
Yeah.
a comfortable spot. And
Mm.
that's where we start. And once you commit to that and get that together, we can do the rest of the things.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I've found in my own experience too, just sleep has such an impact on my chronic illness flare-ups. And the fun part is like when the chronic illness flares up a little bit and that affects my sleep. It's like,
It
no, I need
does.
to sleep.
It's the craziest, rudest cycle ever. People are like, well, just rest. I would love to.
Yeah.
It's like when your body's aching, you're having tremors, you're sweating, you breakouts, all
Mm.
the things that could possibly happen to you. And the one thing that you need is always the hardest thing to get, you
Yeah.
know. And even in that, it's like, and again, some of this stuff I'm still learning myself. Rest doesn't always mean sleep,
Mm.
you know, but
Yeah.
if you can at least down just a little bit, like an hour ago, I'm trying to make some dinner, trying to get ahead of the things. And like I said, everything here is new. I got new
Mm.
appliances, all the things. For
Mm.
some reason, the stove decided to start smoking off the newness, and my fire alarms went off for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Couldn't get them to go off. So my nervous system is a wreck.
Yeah.
I'm like, and there wasn't actual smoke. It was just like the fumes of the newness, you
Mm.
know. So things like that will happen,
Yeah.
but knowing that, hey, I can come in here once it got quiet in here, and I can just relax.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
having that space together is, it took to me, it is the biggest help. It's the biggest launch pad. And
Mm.
understanding that I had to be kind to myself in order
Mm.
for my body to respond properly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And in fact, like from my experience too, the kinder I am to myself in those ways, like taking the rest and the sleep, the better impact it has on my business in terms of when I do show up, I have more energy for
Mhm.
for recording or for chatting to people and and it just leads to conversations and clients and all of that kind of stuff too. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Hmm.
agree so much. Let me take a quick break from today's episode to invite you to something special I've created for you. It's called Brave Coffee Connections. This is a free monthly Zoom gathering for coaches and service-based business owners. It's not another awkward networking event. Instead, it's about creating genuine connections that can lead to collaborations, referrals, and even new clients. Here's how it works. We start with a powerful question to spark brave moves in your business. You'll reflect for a few minutes, then connect with like-minded coaches and service providers in a breakout room to share and be inspired. We do 2 rounds so you meet different people and get fresh perspectives. Then we end with a short visualization to wire your brain for success. And each of us commits to one brave action for the month ahead. Every month we focus on a different theme like bravery, money, or visibility. And it's all about connecting on a deeper level without the pressure or the pitch. You can grab your free spot at tiffanyGstudios.com/connections. That's TIFFANY G for golf, studios.com/connections. I look forward to seeing you there. So tell me about some things that you have coming up. Oh, actually, the other thing I was going to ask you, because last time we talked, you said that you were planning a novel on
Ah,
to write
yes.
on your diagnosis story.
Mhm.
Like, do you chat about that or do you, yeah.
Yeah, we can do. Yeah. So it's the iron butterfly, and that has also kind of gone through a bit of an evolution. And so right now I am at the illustration stage. Most people would probably say you're insane by trying to do all the steps yourself, but I am. So I'm not going to make the mistake I made on my last book and try to edit it myself. But for right now, I've got character developments. I've got some character images together, creating the cast, and I'm hopeful that I can have it out by maybe mid 2026. Because it's going to like mimic my health journey, and it's a novel that it's not going to be like in your face. Oh, this child is sick. She's sick. She's going through so many things. It's going to highlight the subtleties of chronic illness
Mm,
that because of the inherent ableistic like world we live in, that we tend to gaslight ourselves when we know something is wrong with our bodies.
mm,
But we're taught to take a pill, take a nap, push on, just get it done. So, back in my former days, before my chronic illness, I was pastry chef. So the lead female in this book is a pastry chef. She's moved out on her own. She has a love interest, a little Hawaiian hottie, you know, and it's going to highlight the fact that most of us have been sick for so long,
mm.
but we gaslit ourselves, allowed others to gaslight us, ignored all the things
Yeah.
until eventually your body's like, hello, you are not listening to me. And I'm going to
Yeah.
make you listen now. So that's the gist of it. And so, yeah, just keep an eye out for that. It's coming.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that. I can definitely like as you're talking about it, I can sort of see the characters and all of that coming together. That's such an awesome way to tell that story and just make it relatable and all of that stuff too. I
Mhm.
could just
That's my hope. That is my hope that people, and even that people, without chronic illness,
yeah.
that can read it and be
Yeah.
entertained, because I mean, there's some characters in there. There's some drama, there's a
Yeah.
little like, ooh, what's that? And hopefully it will be a different source of education to help educate the non-chronic pain person, because
Mm.
we need as much support as we can get.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, the other point that you made just about how like we gaslight ourselves or like even for me, like it's part of my process of like not feeling the pain as much is just kind of
Mhm.
like this self-talk that it's like, like, oh, I've got a bit of pain, but it'll be right. And like that's my process, which actually like can sound like gaslight. Like I know we've talked about it before, and you're like, it's all right, you're allowed to be in pain. I'm like, oh no, this is my process. This is how I feel less pain, but I am
Mhm.
effectively gaslighting myself. Yeah, so
Yeah,
but at least I know what I'm doing when I do it. So maybe I'm
true.
not.
Well, I mean, and I think on some level that's always going to be there, because I mean, because we are always in some level of discomfort. It just changes from minute to day, but it is there,
Yeah.
and once you it like I say, at least like I say, at least you do it.
Mm,
And when you catch yourself doing it, that's
yeah.
where the reframing comes in,
Mm,
and
yeah.
it's hard sometimes, like, catching yourself being like, well, you know what, stop that.
Mm,
Stop that.
yeah.
Like, you are in pain and you have done enough,
Mm,
and just to allow yourself to rest and recoup.
yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I'm just thinking about that, and it's like, you have done enough when you said that, and I was like, oh, yeah, I think maybe I needed to hear that a little bit this
Mhm.
particular week because last week I launched Brave Coffee Connections, and I was doing all the things and pushing all of the limits, and then this week
Mhm.
I had to just move a bunch of stuff aside, like all the client work's being looked after, but just all my podcast is like that's going to wait a week. Everything else is just so
Mhm.
that I can have that rest and like that whole you've done enough. We've got to rest. Otherwise, my body will be like, nope, we're just going to stop and not be able to do
Right.
anything if I
And
don't look
and
after.
nobody wants that. Nobody wants
Yeah.
that, because if your body has to start throwing a tantrum just to get you to listen, that's
Yeah.
never fun. And it's going to inherently push everything else that you have planned and want to do down the road, if not even just cancel it altogether.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely how it's come for me before, except I like wasn't well, I was younger, so the pain and everything hit different. No, it hit
Hmm.
differently. And then there was a lot more of the hustle and the push through and everything.
Right.
And then it'd be like suddenly I'd wake up one day and I just, wouldn't be able to move or like,
Mhm.
or my back would go out and when I'd sit down and look at it, I'd be like I see all the things that got me here, but I didn't see the warning signs. Whereas now it's like I see the
Exactly.
warning signs and can pull
Yep.
back and yeah.
Yeah, I definitely really I definitely can relate to the whole, like, not being able to move. Like, if that's that is the worst thing. Like, you wake up and, like, you can literally, like, not move. Like, I'm telling my leg to move, and my leg
Mm,
is like, I don't like you.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And like you said, and then while you're it's almost like your body puts you in timeout. Think about what you've done.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, like that whole process held me back so much, like, because I didn't want to get more clients because I was like, what if that happens? And then all of a sudden I have to
Mhm.
contact all my clients and go, hey, these things I promised you, I can't do them.
Right.
And yeah, but now, like I said, I have a handle on some things and I can see the warning signs. So I
Mhm.
have more, and yeah, now I'm growing
And
my
and
business.
see, and like, along those same lines, it's like, another part of, like, the She's Rising incubators, what we do is, because, like we understand, like, yes, there are times, sometimes we actually get it right, we listen to our body and we take things in pacing, but sometimes, most of the time, we don't. So I factor in the flare days, and
Mm,
I help you set up the systems so that if you got to send emails from the bed, that's what you're gonna do. I
yeah.
mean, there's been times I'm just very thankful that today I'm able to sit up, but I've had to do interviews laying in the bed, like, and like, my mind is like, oh, this is so bad, it's horrible, but it's getting it done,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so we plan in for the bad days, and
Mhm.
then I help you get the equipment, the systems, the program software, whatever it is that you need, so that even on a bad day, if you have at least one spoon,
Mm,
you can still get, like, one micro thing done.
mm.
It might have to be done from the bed. You might have to ask for help, which oh I choke on the word help, but you might have to ask for help. And I feel like that's the beauty of the incubator, because I am the help. Like, I
Yeah.
understand that you're gonna need that assistance. So I hope that my clients feel as if, okay, if
Yeah.
I am really down and out, I can just reach out to Toya and say, hey, okay, this is where I am.
Mm.
Like if you need me to send some emails, draft you up some replies. I
Mm.
mean, that's what we do. And that's
Mm.
why we are partners. I'm not just someone that's like, okay, run 5 steps, do this, do this. We're literally walking this out together. I am right there beside you. And by
Yeah.
the end of the 6 months, the goal is that you are going to be empowered.
Yeah.
You're going to be confident in what you can and want to do, despite what your body may want to pitch a fit about. And you're also going to have a better understanding of how your body works
Mm.
and what you need. Because what I might need to fight through a flare might not work for you.
Yeah.
You might need either some version of that or something completely different. We talk about all the things, and you know, by the end of that 6 months, you will be a boss. Like
Mm.
that's gonna happen.
Yeah. 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 Oh my gosh. This is so powerful. And I just want to say, Latoya mentioned if you've only got one spoon, and for anybody who maybe doesn't know that reference,
Oh
that
yes.
sort of the idea being that like on any given day when you're managing chronic illness or chronic pain, like we have like a certain amount of energy, we kind of call it spoons. And it's like you can wake up one day and be like, oh, I've got 5 spoons and I've got the energy to do all of these things. And
Mm-hmm.
like the next day that those same things could cost you more spoons or less spoons, and you could wake
Mm-hmm.
up with less spoons. And
Right. Right.
yeah, and like oftentimes it's like, oh, I don't have the spoons for that today, is something that like my husband, who also manages chronic illness, and myself sort of say to each other of just like, oh, do you have the spoons? And yeah, it's a nice way of picturing it or something. I don't know how that came
Right.
about, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I forget the woman who like coined it, but she created that, that analogy, and it really is, at least to me, it does help. Like, you can say, oh, I don't have the energy for that. Like, because basically spoons are energy to us.
Yeah.
But to put it to assign the energy to a thing that we
Mm,
all know what the thing is,
yeah.
and to be able to count it out, be like, okay, so like you said, like today, I woke up with 3 spoons, but I also spent 8 yesterday.
Yeah.
So technically, those 3 spoons is like -5.
Yeah.
So it helps us to articulate to, like, I call them the normals, but to the normals,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
to help them understand better what we're
Yeah.
saying. Because people, like, a lot of times that people will say, especially if they don't deal with chronic pain,
Yeah.
one of the worst things I hate to hear is, oh yeah, I get a headache too. Oh yeah, my back hurts too sometimes. Not the sun. That this is not that.
Yeah.
So I think that analogy helps get the point across.
Mm, yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think too for me, like when I had a more traditional like 9 to 5 job or something, the idea of trying to say to people, oh, I just didn't have the energy, and like I don't know about you or if it's just in my head, but this the imagined thing that I think they're thinking is like, but you can just push through. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing about the spoons, I think, is it kind of gave me permission to just be like, I don't have to push through. It's like this is the
Mm-hmm.
spoons I have today. Here's
Right.
here's what I can do. And this task that might have taken me 1 spoon, it's going to take me 4 spoons today.
Mm-hmm.
I only have spoons, so I'm not going to do that task. And it gave me
Right.
permission to just be like, yeah, that's
Exactly. And of course, like we were speaking about a little earlier,
mm,
yes, we could push through. Like
yeah,
if any random normal person were to have even an hour's worth of what we feel, they'd be in the hospital. Okay. So yes, we can push through,
yeah,
but it's not advisable because
yes,
at some point we're gonna probably end up in the hospital.
yeah,
you know,
yes.
if we don't, manage our energy
Mm.
better.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's funny that you said about the normal person. So my mother, who's, she's in her 80s now, and like she was last year she was having problems. She was having back pain and nerve pain, and she hasn't had to go through this like I have. And she just looked at me and she's like, "Is this what it's like for you every day?" And I'm just like,
Wow.
yeah, because she's like, "I'm in pain." I'm like, "Yes, I realize you're in pain, but like I'm kind of like, cry me a river." Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I get that too because my mom had a health scare a couple of months ago, and for an 82-year-old woman, she's relatively healthy. Like she's probably the
Mm.
healthiest of our family right now, you know.
Yeah.
And so she had a health scare with like her blood pressure and like her asthma, which now it was discovered that she has COPD.
Oh,
So
right.
with
Mm.
that, she was literally in and out of the hospital every other week, and it
Mm.
was a lot.
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
And so once she finally got to a point to where at the very like she wasn't going to the hospital or the ER every other week, she was still fatigued because it was an actual situation. She was actually having a health problem,
Yeah.
but even at 82 years old, she had never had to endure that kind of thing,
Mhm.
to have that energy drain, I
Yeah.
mean, because I've heard people say, well, I would love to be in the hospital because it's like a vacation. No, it's not. It is
No.
not. So she said something similar. She was like, I just want to, I like, she just wants to have herself back. And she
Mm.
was like, so is this what you guys feel like? Because me and my sister both have similar chronic illnesses. We're kind of like
Mm.
right in line with each other.
Yeah.
And me and my sister were like you. We're like, yeah,
Mm.
like welcome to the club. And
Yeah.
the thing is, and I'm happy that she's doing better now because now her
Yeah.
energy is getting back to where it was, even at the age she is, you know. And we knew that. We knew that eventually they would figure out what was going on and she'd be fine. And so now it's at that point now where she's like, I just don't want to go through anything like that again. I'm like, I'm sure you don't.
Mm.
But we
Yeah.
don't get that option.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh. Oh man. Yeah, such an eye-opening experience on both sides.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I definitely learned a lot about, my limits and pushing through because something like that, you really don't have an option. Like your parent is in the hospital. They don't know what's wrong with you. So yeah, you really don't have the luxury to sleep in, you know? So yeah, it was definitely learning on both sides. And I was able to use some of the tools in the framework to help me recover when I could.
Mm.
Take those risks when you can.
Yeah.
Being kind to yourself, which
Mm.
sounds simple,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
it's a lot harder than you would imagine.
Definitely. Oh, 100%. Oh, okay, so let's shift a little bit and talk about what brave things you have coming up. Yeah. What are you working on? Yeah.
So I have a couple of brave things. I had my first major brand conversation about 2 weeks ago now. So I'm actually in the process of partnering with Pureway, which is a sharps disposal company. And we are developing a community event where we're going to be giving out 200 units of sharps containers, educating on the necessity and the good that using a sharps container is, as opposed to just tossing them in the trash and they end up in a landfill. So yeah, that's going to be happening in the next couple of months. And in addition to like, I have made small trips.
Mm.
Yeah, I've made my first plane flight maybe 3 years ago, but it was like 30 minutes away, so 30-minute flight.
Mm.
you know, so I will be making a more long distance trip here in the next couple of weeks, and also like just stepping out more and like making a hard relaunch of the She's Rising Incubator and the Spark Step.
Mhm. Oof. Oh, wow. That's some amazing stuff that you've got going on. What's the bravest part for you, or like what's the biggest like maybe mindset shift or something like that?
To me, honestly, I think the biggest brave thing is the community event because that's not how it started. you know, it
Yeah.
like what I thought about it was. yes, maybe have like a day where we give out some sharps containers and have a cute little note attached to them. But when I met with the company and they gave me their vision for certain things because they this Pure Way is really big about community access and doing events. And so in talking with them, it grew into this thing, this huge event. So like now I'm having to like, reach out to the mayor of my town and like talking to like influential people. And I'm like, that means I have to talk to people. Like, like I can't just be in my house, behind a wall. And so yeah,
You can't just
I
send
am
them there a DM.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to what? So for me, yes, that is the biggest brave thing right now. And when it comes to a mindset shift, honestly, it was again making the small steps. I started by, taking small brand deals, like where you pick a brand, you get their product, you make a video of it, kind of almost like with affiliate marketing,
Mm.
just doing those little things. And each one that was approved and each one that was put out, the confidence grew more and more.
Mm.
I even took pitching a pitching course on like how to pitch, when and how to do it and what to say. So that also helped.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, I want to ask, what did they tell you in the pitching thing? Okay, screw it. Screw the time limit. Let's.
Right. Okay. So basically it is you do your research on the
Yeah.
person or thing you're pitching to. And the biggest thing is if you're going to try and partner with a company, a person, who have you, make sure it's something you feel passionate about. Like, yes, you can go after the money, this, that, and the third. That's always great. But
Mm.
if you don't really feel it, if it's not like a heart thing, they're gonna see it.
Yeah.
That it's gonna come out that you're just kind of just doing something.
Mm.
So make sure it's something you want to do and that you actually use so that you can talk from a actual like a talk from a heart space,
Yeah.
something that people can tell that, oh, she really uses that, like that's something that she really believes in. You really
Yeah.
believe in like not ruining the country and like the earth, and making things safe as possible. After that, they tell you to practice your pitch, like, and it may
Yeah.
sound weird, but look in the mirror and practice the pitch, talk
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll have things written out, and I don't know if you do this, but like I can write something out,
Mm.
and in my head, I put all the words on paper.
Yeah.
But I'll go back and read it. I'm like, where is like I'll miss words, take words out completely. I'm like,
Mm.
what? This doesn't make sense. So you hearing it out, will make sure it's as polished as possible. And then the other thing that they really teach is to again be willing to fail. Like every pitch isn't going to be taken, every email won't be opened, but again, you really never know because the meeting with Pureway actually started as a DM. I sent them a message on TikTok,
Awesome.
honestly not thinking I was going to hear anything back with them.
Yeah.
I've done smaller like affiliate things, with their containers because I've been using them for about 6 months now for my
Yeah.
shops. So I've done some, videos for them already. I sent the DM like 20 minutes later, they replied and they were like,
Wow.
yes, let's talk more. I'm like, what?
Yes.
I'm like,
Mm.
what?
Yeah.
So then that's when I had to kind of like lock in, like, oh wait, oh okay, you know. But
Yeah.
if I had never sent the DM, I wouldn't be here
Yeah.
where I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Oh my gosh, that's such powerful stuff, and especially the whole looking in the mirror. You asked me, I record myself
Mm.
and watch it back because for me, like I do like dot points because if I like I'll never remember it word for word, but it's
Oh
like if I
yeah,
hit
no,
these points, then I'm usually pretty good.
yeah,
But then it's like one thing recording it on video, it's another thing being in the place, and then I get nervous and
oh yeah,
suddenly it's like,
everything's out
place
the
on.
window.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I just hope that they see my passion. Like for me, it's like you said,
Hmm.
the heart space. For me, it's just passion. It's like if you can see how passionate I am about this, even if I don't get the words perfectly right, you're gonna feel my
Hmm.
energy and just be like,
Exactly.
I'm gonna work with her. And that's yeah, that's my
And like I
fumbling
said, and
approach.
usually, and that's usually what happens, when, especially if it's something that,
Mm,
is supposed to happen. Like if it's something that's in like your stars to have happen with you,
mm,
it will.
yeah.
And nerves, I was like, my mentor told me, nerves just means you care.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Oh, definitely. And I think I'd rather have it like that than not have any nerves at all. I think I'd come off flat and people would be like, "Oh, she's a
Ex-
serial killer," you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, Latoya, this has been amazing talking to you. I love all of your stories and everything that you've got going on and how everything has developed since we last talked as well, and how you're serving people with the incubator and the steps and the framework and all of that. Do you have any last words? Oh, of course, all of your links will be in the show notes and everything. Tell us where to connect with you, and do you have any last words to leave us with before we finish up?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thank you again for having me on. You can find me at Butterfly Chats on all socials. Instagram, I mean, yeah, that's right. What's that? Instagram, Butterfly Chats Consultants, but it still pops up if you just type in Butterfly Chats. Feel free to send me a DM. I answer my DMs. And yeah, just keep it. If you want to get on my mailing list, the link will be in the bio, and the link you'll have. Just click the link, and I'll get back with you.
Awesome. So, just checking I didn't have myself on mute. Okay. Are there any last words of encouragement, inspiration that you want to? I know I'm like completely putting you on the spot,
No, it's
but
fine. No. So I want to say that if you're dealing with chronic pain, I understand that your world has been turned upside down. And there are plenty of negative things that you can hold on to. I get that. I would just ask that you try and take a moment and write down three things that you're grateful for. It could be the smallest thing. It could be a cup of coffee. It could be like the temperature in my house is finally right. It could be like my kid only cried 3 times instead of 5 times today. It could be the smallest things. Because once you start collecting the gratitude moments, that's going to start changing your mood and your mindset.
Mm,
Once you get there, honestly, the sky's the limit.
mm,
So if you think that you are stuck in like a cycle of pain and there's nothing else for you, I would just ask that you sign up for a 15-minute coffee chat.
mm.
Just let us talk it out. Even if you just want to vent,
Yeah,
let's do it. Because getting it out,
yeah.
and once you get those feelings out, then I believe you will actually see that there's more life for you to live, and I would love to help you get there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a powerful place to end. That there is more life for you to live,
Hmm.
even with illness or pain or however that comes out. Yeah.
Right. 100%.
Thank you so much, Latoya. This has been amazing. So many things that I'm going to be thinking about as my day progresses from this conversation. So many great reminders. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening today. If you're ready to grow through deeper connections, join me for Brave Coffee Connections. It's my free monthly Zoom call for coaches and service providers. No pitches, just real conversations that spark collaborations, referrals, and new clients. Plus, you'll leave with clarity, inspiration, and one brave action for the month ahead. Save your free spot at tiffanyGstudios.com/connections. That's TIFFANY G for golf STUDIOS.com/connections. I can't wait to see you there.